up? This is BreakmanX, and welcome to the game show on August 20th, 2025. How's it going, Jack?
Great. It's a great time.
No, I love this time of year too, although I might be melting. It is very hot. I'm not a snowman.
Most of the Midwest.
Yeah, and it is hot. And for some reason, at my university decided that air conditioning is not needed right now. They're not needing it at all. So it was cooler today. So, you know. But, Logan, how are you doing this fine evening?
Doing all right, all things considered. Like, there was a frantic troubleshoot session in the middle there for my brother, but like, other than that, we're good. Yeah.
What was the troubleshooting?
Oh, printer issues. But the twist is that he is in Wichita and I am not. So I wasn't able to see the printer. And that basically went nowhere because it was my printer in college, and this thing broke in like a new way every time I actually needed it. Mm-hmm. And they have since updated the app that you use to connect to it. And now I don't recognize it. And the only way I could actually like troubleshoot it is if I was there seeing what he was seeing in the app. So that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I don't know if you ever heard of the comedian Eddie Izzard, but there's a pretty funny printer bit on one of his albums. You might look it up. It's pretty good. Talks about like the end of the world being basically a general getting mad at his printer and pushing the wrong button.
I'll tell you,
nuke and everything.
I'll tell you, as the resident IT guy, there are a few things that employees of a company need to have. It's their access to their files, their systems, and their printer. And if they can't get to any of those three things, the world is ending. Like it is without a doubt, hair on fire. Call the masses. Doesn't matter if there's like a security breach or anything like that. But if that printer's down, boy, you better be ready for a world of hurt.
Do you ever just laugh at them, at their pain?
No, because I have to deal with it. Or at least somebody on my team has to deal with it.
No, I know you better than that. You would never do that. But it would be funny to imagine. And Jess, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing mostly good. I've officially gotten moved and settled in my new place, which is nice.
I noticed there's a different view.
There is a different view. It's a little sparse. It needs to be a little bit better decorated.
Like your lamp?
But it was... Thanks, it came with the apartment.
Well, there you go.
It's
haunted.
It was a very crazy time because they told me that I would have... Because I'm in grad school, so it's university housing, which means I'm at the whims of the university, and so they gave me an 11-day window of potentially moving, and I tried to talk to them and be like, could you give me any more specifics, like maybe even just like 3 or 4 days as opposed to 11? And they're like, well, we can't tell you anything for sure, but it will probably be the last day of that 11-day window. And then I woke up on the first day at like 10:30 to an email being like, pick up your keys in half an hour. You have 24 hours to get moved.
Yeah, nothing
and
USC tells you about administrative things is ever correct.
It was insane. But I learned that I can pack every single thing that I own in less than 3 hours.
That's amazing.
So that's a fun fact.
Tetris
I wish
champion.
I didn't know, but I'm settled now, so that's exciting.
It's a good life skill to have.
Right.
Yeah, it is a good life skill to have. But the game show is a celebration of video games and our collective interest mixed with a healthy dose of humor, bringing on our favorite people in the game movie industries on as guests, except for not this week, because we're going to do game stories this week. We'll have some guests on again soon. I have to admit, I like the variety. I like going back and forth between the no guest episodes and the guest episodes, because the guest episodes I learn a ton and we get to expand our horizons with some great folks. But then these sorts of episodes are like the old school days.
Yeah.
And I get to know more about you all, which is lots of fun. So I like them equally. So it's fun to go back and forth. So I'm glad that we do both of them. But yeah, it's been a crazy week for me. It's been nuts. So I'm excited to have some fun, talk about some games, and enjoy the evening. So, Jack, what are you playing right now?
And well, I was just telling everybody before the show started, like the Battlefield 6 beta took up a good chunk of my weekend again. I will reiterate, that game's going to be great. I'm pretty sure they're going to tweak the little things that I had problems with, or at least I hope they do. But October can't get here soon enough. I'm very excited for it. Also kind of fell back into a Cyberpunk hole. I got back into Cyberpunk 2077. There was a new patch apparently that came out in July. And so the game is again completely different from the last time I touched it, maybe 18 months ago. And it's really, really good. I'm still really enjoying it. I don't think I'm even halfway through the actual story content in the game. I think I've just been doing side missions and stuff like that for a while. I finally got a really cool car, so I can go like 200 miles an hour around the city, which makes things a lot easier.
Just like real life.
Yeah, just like real life. But no, I'm really enjoying it and just kind of futzing around with that thing when I got some free time, 15, 30, 45 minutes at a time. So it's pretty cool. I'm still digging it.
Nice. Very cool. And Logan, what are you playing?
Still playing Clash Royale. Aiden and I have had a few more rounds this week, refining some of the skill set. I put him on the ropes a few times there.
Cool. Well, that's cool you've been playing with him. And before we move on to Jess here, I just want to remind everybody that you can participate by commenting here on the YouTube thing. We will, Logan will be checking up on that periodically throughout the show. You can also join our YouTube, you're already on our YouTube. You can join our Discord at BreakmanX.com and chat with us during the week about various things. So, and Jess, what have you been playing besides move-in craziness?
I am still chipping away at Expedition 33. I had the best of intentions of getting it finished so I could talk about it for this episode, but I just don't have as much time as I would like to like sit down and really get into like such story-rich games. So I'm about like, I don't know, maybe like halfway through it at this point, but I am absolutely loving it.
Oh, nice. About how far are you, did you say?
I think I'm getting close to the halfway-ish point.
Nice.
I think.
How many
It's kind of
mines
hard
have you
to tell
fought
for
at this
sure.
point?
A couple. It's very interesting because I don't tend to be a turn-based combat person. But this is turn-based combat and it's not driving me insane.
Oh, nice.
Like it typically does. And I'm not 100% sure why at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having a good time. Again, I think I'm about halfway through. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm also trying not to have anything spoiled. But it seems like I'm getting towards that like halfway mark.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I initially hated turn-based battles when I was really little in the early Final Fantasy Dragon Warrior / Quest games. And in fact, I would be like, I don't want to play that if I'd ever see turn-based battles. And then once I did like them, though, I really liked them. And I can't remember which Dragon Warrior game it was. Dragon Quest, became, but Dragon Warrior on the NES was what it was called in the US for a while. It might have been 3 or 4. And then all of a sudden, I just loved turn-based battles. So it can switch. We'll see what happens with you. But
say, Jess,
I think
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it is because it feels like it doesn't take as long to get through these battles. Like Baldur's Gate 3, you could get into some because you'd have so many enemies that they would take forever to get through the battle. Whereas that's not really something you run into so much. Like I still feel like the pacing is good. So I'm thinking that might be the difference.
I've heard a lot of the synergies between the characters and like all their different abilities helps out a lot with that too. Because like from what I understand, like you get to a point in that game and you're just like running over everybody.
That's fun.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I like being overpowered in RPGs, as long as you have to work for it.
Yeah.
Although I'm too old to grind. No more grinding for me. That used to not be bad. In Final Fantasy Tactics, the first time I played it, I just grinded like crazy. But now when I play games, I don't know. I just don't have the time to grind like I used to. But yeah, so Jack, why don't you hit us with the next piece of news here?
Yeah, so some big news this week. The first thing really want to talk about, PlayStation 5 is getting a price increase in the US starting tomorrow, August 21st. So for those of you that have not heard, if you haven't already picked up a PS5 or a PS5 Pro, you've gotten to your local retail store closes here today to go pick one up for its original retail price. Starting tomorrow, the PlayStation 5 original, or like basically the one with a disc drive, is going from $499.99 to $549.99. The digital edition, which is the one without the disc drive, is going from $449 to $499. And the PlayStation 5 Pro is going from $699 to $749. So, Sony says this is a result of challenging economic environments, essentially tariffs. Like that's what it is. It's tariffs. So while things just kind of go in that direction with the United States government, I think we're just going to see a lot more of this across the board. We've seen it with Nintendo. We've seen it with now Sony. I have to imagine it's only a matter of time before Microsoft does something similar. So yeah, it's this is unfortunately a new normal for right now.
It's fun to pay more for things.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first time that this has happened. A console has increased in price after its release.
I wouldn't say it's the first time, but it is a very troubling trend. Like the Switch for sure. Like the Switch last week, the original Switch, not the Switch 2, the original Switch went up in price last week. All models of it, the OLED, the regular, and the Lite all went up in price. And like that thing's been out for 8 years. Like even the OLED's been out for a few years now.
Before this year though, has it happened before? I don't ever remember it happening.
Yeah, it's happened before. I mean, yeah, like but this was like a long time ago.
That's why you get things at launch.
Well, I mean, but that was kind of the thing. Like they would always sell consoles at a loss to begin with, and then you would make the money up. Like you would drop the price because you wanted to hit that mass market penetration. As the system, got a little bit older, you had more games out on the market, and you just make up the difference on game sales. And it's just it's not the case anymore, which is really sad because like I've had a whole bunch of people that have bought like the original Xbox, the Xbox 360. They waited till it went down in price and was $199 for like the Xbox Series S at one point. Or not Series S, I'm sorry, the Xbox 360 S at one point was like $199. And like that was like the perfect price point for somebody to get into a console if they didn't want to, spend an arm and a leg like you have to right now, or even then. And so it's just troubling. I think it really locks out a lot of gamers, especially low income families and gamers. It really sucks because it is a really awesome media that I wish more people could have access to.
I agree. And you're right. That used to allow, the lower price point used to allow everyone to be able to play, even if it was older hardware. I mean, there's a whole library of games to play. The PS2 was out seemingly forever and allowed lots of people to jump in on that great generation of games. And then remember when the GameCube was what, like $100?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure PlayStation 2 hit $100 at maybe a year after the PS3 came out. Like it was dirt cheap.
Yep.
Relatively speaking, of course.
Yeah, for the massive library that existed. So, I don't know. Well, it's sad times.
Yep. But that's not all that happened. There was some good news this week. Bubsy 4D got announced today. Everybody. He's back. Bubsy is back. Does anybody on this podcast other than Break know who Bubsy is?
No.
It's one of the
think
more
so.
disappointing games I've ever played.
Oh, which
Genesis-
one?
The Genesis
which Bubsy
one
game?
was the one I had. Because it was like supposed to be the new mascot game. They're really talking it up at Software, etc. Like,
Yeah,
it was supposed to be because the animation was, and there was voice acting, which was so annoying. But it was like the worst game ever. The level design was really terrible, and then like it felt like if an enemy breathed on you, you were dead. And there was like this really long animation and voice over that happened, and it was just like, because they said it was good, I like kept playing because I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not enjoying this game? But it was not me.
Yeah, my parents got it for me for my birthday one year, and man, let me tell you, I made it a point to try to beat that game because I was like, this game controls terribly, but my parents bought it, and I want to show them I stuck with this thing.
Which one did you have?
I had the first one, the original one on Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, the controls are just floaty. If you have the means to play Bubsy 1, I highly suggest you just check it out as a curiosity. Do not subject yourself to it for more than 15 minutes. You will drive yourself crazy. But it is certainly a platformer in the realm of platformers that should be forgotten.
The way you said it was funny.
Yeah. And then
it is certainly a platformer.
Bubsy 2 was more of the same, still terrible, and they thought it was a good idea to make another one because the first one sold really well because of advertisements. And then there's Bubsy 3D, which is a whole other complete.
That was a real pile of poop.
Disaster. Yeah. There's some great YouTube videos of Bubsy 3D out there. I highly suggest the ones from Giant Bomb. They are great.
I can imagine
that terribleness. Like it's basically like watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, but for video games for this one. But Bubsy 4D, they're like, hey, we're delving back into Bubsy's past. Everybody wanted to see another Bubsy game. I'm like,
yeah, everybody.
Did we? But that's kind of how
Bubsy is back.
Yeah.
It's funny that there's an error in the website potentially because it says Busy is back. Bubsy 4D Busy is back. Is there a Busy character or is this just an error?
Nah, it's probably just a typo.
Yeah, the title of the website says Bubsy 4D Busy is back.
Oh boy.
Join Bubsy on an intergalactic platforming adventure. The infamous, definitely infamous, wisecracking Bobcat has returned to 3D with new challenges, new moves, and even more personality. Yes, please talk more. That's what everyone wanted. It's so sad because, like, you can tell they tried hard with that game.
I mean, I'll give it to Atari. I mean, they've got their IP and they're going to try to do whatever they can to get it all to make some money somehow. So, like, they've been doing some good stuff with other things in their back catalog.
That is true.
That new Missile Command game was actually pretty cool. It's like an escape room mixed with Missile Command.
That's true. Cool. It'd be kind of fun if they leaned into how bad it is and made it like, so bad it's good type thing. Like really leaned into how terrible the voice acting and stuff. The thing that I really remember about that game though is how floaty and slippery it felt, and you'd be like running and you'd like die and your guy would still, or Bubsy would still be going for like a long way after it, and he'd be like tumbling and dying, and it just was, it's so poorly done. Collision detection was not good.
No.
But I'm excited for, no, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm morbidly excited to see what comes out of this.
Now, if it's on Game Pass or I can play it in any way that doesn't cost me more money, I probably will download it and try it out just out of morbid curiosity. Like you said, I would not spend money on Bubsy unless it's on sale for like 50 cents.
Yeah, that's
$2. $2 might be my max.
Bubsy. Too much.
Too much? $2?
Too much.
It's how much a Mexican Coke is. So I was trying to judge between the two.
Yeah. No, at least the Mexican Coke will give you a sugar rush.
That's true. Bubsy will just make you depressed and angry and not like bobcats.
Yeah. But all jokes aside, that was not the only announcement from Gamescom earlier today. Yesterday. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 got a reveal trailer. They showed the first trailer for Fallout Season 2 on Amazon Prime, which looks really good. I'm really excited about New Vegas. Lords of the Fallen 2 was announced. I honestly, my favorite thing I think I saw, other than the Resident Evil Requiem gameplay, was Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. I don't know if you all saw that trailer, but it looks awesome. Essentially, they're doing Lego Batman kind of like the Lego Rise of Skywalker. So it's going to be kind of like an open world, but they're going to do like every single Batman movie. So like all the original, like Joel Schumacher, Tim Burton, all those movies.
The 60s Batman movie in there.
The 60s Batman movie.
Oh boy, that's going to be.
They're also doing like the Christopher Nolan trilogy. They're doing the Robert Pattinson Batman too. And they're just doing like a whole bunch of other stuff too. So it looks super cool. I really suggest you watch the trailer. It looks like it's Arkham Asylum's combat mixed with all the normal Lego game stuff. And I was like, I could really go for another Arkham Asylum without like the super in-depth Arkham Asylum stuff. So this could be exactly what I need at this point in time.
Cool. Batman makes for great video games too. So
yes,
when it's done
especially
right,
Lego Batman.
Yeah, could be fun with the kids too.
Yeah, they also showed us some other stuff. They announced a sequel to Black Myth Wukong. There's a Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 4 that's being worked on. Another World of Warcraft expansion, World of Warcraft Midnight.
Game's never gonna end.
Nope. Speaking of games that never end, there's a Final Fantasy 14 and Monster Hunter Wilds crossover that's coming.
That game's never gonna end either.
Nope.
MMOs just keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah, they showed off gameplay for Hollow Knight Silk Song, which looks pretty cool. Silent Hill F they showed off for the first time. John Carpenter's got a game coming out, Toxic Commando. That I can only imagine that John Carpenter putting a game together will be something else.
Something else. So someone sent me the Halloween game trailer.
Yeah,
that's the only that's the only one I've seen because of the crazy week. But John Carpenter is executive producer on that, so he probably looked in its direction once for 3 seconds.
Probably.
but I don't know. It'd be the music was good because it's the original music. But other than that, we don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, the last thing I'll mention from some of the like opening night live stuff, Jeff Keighley's thing was the folks behind Disco Elysium. I don't know if anybody's played that, but they announced their next game called Zero Parades.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
We'll see how that goes. But if you like Disco Elysium, I can only imagine they're going to do something just as crazy for the next game, if not more so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hello out there to Maximus Prime and Professor Addy. I saw that you guys said hello. Are there any highlights from the chat you'd like to bring up, Logan?
Yes. Maximus Prime says, I got RE4 with the RE4 HT project mod. It makes the game so much better looking, and I can now reload without aiming. It's the simple things that make me happy. Yep. Quality of life mods can be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Truth.
Yes. And then I'm not sure what he's responding to, but Maximus Prime says it's a game that exists.
Probably
I'm guessing Bubsy.
Bubsy. That is a true statement. It is a game that exists.
Yes. And then Maximus Prime also says that Matt Berry is going to be voicing Lego Bane.
Oh, nice.
You
should have respected my authority.
I really need to pick up this game. It's going to be fun seeing the range of Lego interpretations from like the already insane 60s movie to like the really gritty Nolan stuff.
That'll be pretty fun.
It's like, yeah.
Yep.
I hope they integrate the music because there's such different musical styles between them. And going from like the 60s to Tim Burton and throughout.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. And then Christopher Nolan's like super cinematic, serious music.
Yep.
It should be pretty cool.
It should be pretty cool. That'd be fun.
I think it's
And
they said
multiplayer
it's gonna be
stuff.
out next year. Yeah.
So cool. I'm hoping that the Halloween game will be good. I don't have high hopes. I don't know. The trailer looked a little janky. I don't know if you've seen it, but like Michael's face was a little puffy, a little weird.
They'll dial it in. Don't worry.
And I don't know. Lori kind of looked like she was on a Dreamcast, but maybe not a Dreamcast. Maybe like a early Xbox 360 game. I'll give him a few gens. But
That's a little too crunchy.
what?
Dreamcast is a little too crunchy.
A little too crunchy. I love the Dreamcast, but probably don't want your game to look, like a Dreamcast game now. So we're talking about game stories tonight, which is very exciting. I love everything about video games, including game stories. It's always said that that games will be a viable storytelling medium when they can make you cry. I would argue that they've been making us cry for a while. They made me cry for a while. I don't want to go first because the game I'm going to talk about first I've talked about before. So I'm going to go last. I'm going to shake it up here, and I'm going to go last. And I'm going to let Jack go first.
Okay. Well, I'm glad Daria's not here tonight. I mean, I wish Daria was here.
That
but
is
I'm
so
glad she's
mean,
not,
Jack.
So I can talk about this first game. So I want to talk about Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
I've wanted to talk about this on the podcast. I think since we got it back up and running again. So I'm going to take my chance while she's not here because I don't want to spoil anything for her.
Do it.
So please, Daria, if you're out there, do not listen to the next 5 minutes of this podcast. So Alan Wake 2, for those of you that didn't play the first Alan Wake, tortured writer gets into some weird extra dimensional paranormal stuff that is, he's writing a book, and as he's writing the book, things in the book begin to actually happen in real life. It turns out there's a paranormal thing going on with this lake, this entity that lives in the lake that is in Seattle where they're at, and it is basically doing the bringing things to life. And he gets trapped in the lake to save his wife at the end of the story. So that's the end of Alan Wake 1. So Alan Wake 2 kind of picks up a little bit after that, where there's an FBI agent that's out there to solve the murder of the FBI agent who came out to basically stop Alan Wake in the original one, or find Alan Wake in the original. I won't get into it, but essentially turns out there's a cult that's basically made a god of Alan Wake, or at least somehow involved with Alan Wake. They're the ones that killed the FBI agent. It gets into a whole bunch of things. I can't do it justice, but essentially the game splits time between the FBI agent that's out there in current day looking for Alan Wake and trying to figure out what happened to this former FBI agent that went missing and then was killed by the cult. And then the other half of the time you spend playing as Alan Wake, who is lost in his subconscious inside the lake. And that's probably the most interesting part of the entire game. The story and where it goes in there, it leads you down certain paths as Alan is trying to complete his manuscript. He figures he can write his way out of the darkness. He can write his way out of the lake and get back to real life and save his wife. But every time he tries to do that, the darkness or the lake finds another way to keep him trapped. And so it is just him going down this endless spiral of basically madness and trying to find a way to write himself out. And it does so in very creative ways, narratively speaking. Each section with Alan begins with him in a talk show, like a Tonight Show sort of vibe, with a character, and like they basically have Sam Lake, who plays Alex Casey, who is the stand-in for Max Payne because they don't have the rights for Max Payne. Long story, but it's really cool. And Sam Lake is basically himself, and the host kind of lets on that he knows more than what's going on, but he doesn't let Alan know it all, and Alan just is like, "What's going on? Like, why are we talking about my new book? I didn't write any book." And it just kind of goes from there. Like it recurs every time. Like you go back to Alan's sections like three times in the game, and each time it starts out like that. And each one, it kind of, he's like, okay, I got a handle on this. We're gonna figure out how this thing goes, and we're gonna get out of here this time. But it keeps subverting your expectations, and it goes somewhere even crazier after the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably talk about the specific one crazy point later on when we get to some other topics. But needless to say, if you like video game stories, Alan Wake 2 has one of the best ones out there. If you like Control, and you like the story in Control, you owe it to yourself to go play Alan Wake 2 because it does even crazier things than Control does with the story.
And what a fabulous job walking us through it too. Nice. No, I'm serious.
I don't know about that. I did not do it.
See,
I did not do it any kind of close to justice that
if
I
that
think
came
I
off
did.
sarcastic, I was meaning it genuinely.
You did enough to get me intrigued. Like,
Yeah.
I need
It
to
was
play
intriguing.
these games. Yeah.
Alan Wake is rad. I mean, it reminds me of like Stephen King mixed with.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little of In the Mouth of Madness, which I love that movie.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Sam Lake has basically said Twin Peaks and
yeah,
you just mentioned it. Twin Peaks and
In the Mouth of Madness.
Not In the Mouth of Madness. Sorry, the other one. Just brain fart.
I must go back in
Stephen
time.
King.
I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, Stephen King. Yeah,
Stephen King, okay.
and Twin Peaks are kind of like his two main draws for inspiration when he was making out.
Anything that has any basis in Twin Peaks is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Man, that was. Yeah, I watched that show when I was a kid, Twin Peaks.
Oh, no.
I had no idea what was happening, but my parents were watching it, and I just kind of watched it with them, and I thought it was weird, and I didn't get it. And then I got the DVD set later on in life and watched the whole thing, and I was like blown away.
Yeah.
It wasn't
starts
as much. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it starts out kind of normal-ish enough, and then like season 2, it gets way off the rails.
Yeah. Then David Lynch is like, haha.
Well, actually, David Lynch was like, "Yeah, these studio execs don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm out of here."
That's true. I didn't like the movie that much though.
Yeah, it was
Fire Walk
way
with Me?
different. Yeah,
The music's great though too, on everything. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
yes.
All right, Logan.
So, my first entry is FNAF, which is an interesting choice. But I just love it for, I don't know, like the first game, the story was, your basic like environmental storytelling, like newspaper clippings on the walls, and, like inferring from behavior of things. And then the community just kind of like took it and started piecing things together, and that just snowballed. And I love it for that. Like, they have really figured out how to like drop enough hints to like keep people going, and while not really giving everything away, which keeps the mystery up. And it has led to like a hyper engaged community trying to actively puzzle solve with the games, which I think is unique to any other sort. Like, there are other franchises that have tried to accomplish that level of involvement with the story, and I don't think anything has quite hit the nail on the head, because FNAF was a bit of a fluke in that regard. And I just think it's a really cool thing.
Catchy music too.
Nice.
The music is pretty catchy.
Yep.
It's always interesting to me, like when you have a game that, like you said, doesn't have that much in the way of like narrative in the game itself. You have like environmental storytelling, how much that a dedicated audience will try to fill in a lot of those gaps or try to piece things together, whether it's, Five Nights at Freddy's, whether it's, something like a Portal or an Elden Ring or a Dark Souls, like the community that gets kind of built up around it will find a way to, build out that narrative. If they
Such a
they
cool
want
organic thing that happens.
Right. No, it's fun even to like in bigger worlds, like RPGs or whatever that people are already kind of making their own stories in. Like, I love that level of immersion and care that is taken into environmental storytelling, because it really does serve to like immerse you in the world and make you feel like you are a part of the story and can like figure things out about the world, but also just kind of tell your own story with the pieces that it gave you. Because it gives you a sandbox to work in.
Yeah. I've never FNAF'd, but BreakmanX has FNAF'd, and seems like a very cohesive world.
Admittedly, I am a bit on the outside. I haven't actually played most of the games, but I got into like the story later, like after I was doing like just binging a bunch of Game Theory episodes. I inevitably stumbled upon the 50 some odd FNAF videos, and I'm like, this is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
it's one of the great things about the modern era is you don't necessarily have to play the game. I mean, it's just like we used to in the olden days watch our friends play it, and now you're watching a stranger play it. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Well, admittedly, it's at this point I've watched more breakdowns of like how things connect together than actual gameplay.
There you go. That's cool.
But it's awesome. Like, people are using things like cryptography and like, breaking into files and distorting them every which way they can possibly think of to like find codes and stuff. And some of it actually like leads to interesting stuff. Like, they've gotten really crafty lately because they know people are just gonna find stuff anyway. So they're getting interesting.
Cool.
And I
Nice.
think it says something too about even in the first game, because I remember playing the first game when it came out, and it was a lot of like environmental stuff, and the messages on the phone were like pretty much all you had. But it says something about like the world building and what storytelling was made, that everybody was immediately like 50 million theories. We're like filling in these blanks. Like, you have to be a pretty good storyteller to like grab people in that way. And FNAF really took off in that regards in a way that is definitely not typical.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely been attempts at like imitating it, and I think the closest is probably like the Poppy series recently.
Oh God.
Yeah. But it's still not quite
That
FNAF.
I've just seen. I don't know anything about it, but I've seen like a couple like things in passing, and that is creepy.
Yeah.
That's some creepy stuff. That Poppy
And a similarly creepy
popped
lore.
on Evie's YouTube feed, and she was like scared.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just randomly. So
One of those things where, especially if it pops into a younger kid's YouTube feed, I wouldn't blame them for like clicking on it thinking it's innocent, because like
she didn't click on it. It
it's-
just kind of came up because she mostly watches craft. Like, she loves to craft, and she watches like how to craft different things.
yeah, I can see that.
From having a father that is the least crafty human being in the universe, I'm terrible at crafts, but it's fun to do it with her because she's good at it. But
That's awesome.
yeah, no craftiness here. Jess, the writer in the room.
Yes. Oh gosh, don't put that on me.
You are.
Well, for my first one, I'm going back to the tried and true. As much as Break talks about Final Fantasy, is how often I talk about Dragon Age.
Good for you.
But I'm specifically, I think, going to talk about Dragon Age Inquisition, because I think Inquisition really nailed, from a storytelling perspective, one of my favorite aspects about Dragon Age and why I think it was as popular as it was, which is the fact that you could import your world states, and decisions that you made in previous games impacted how you experienced the game, and decisions that were made and characters that showed up and in what context.
Yeah.
And Dragon Age 2 also did that for the first one as well. But I feel like 3 was kind of at the sweet spot of, there were enough games that it felt significant with like different world states of like how things were different, but it hadn't gotten so far that it was a nightmare to try to make the game, and so decisions were cut off, which is kind of where you start to get into with Veilguard, where certain decisions were just locked, because when you have 3 games full of branching decisions, the ability to make a game that accommodates all of it just becomes impossible.
It's the
So I
Mass
feel like-
Effect 3 problem, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. But I think Inquisition was kind of just perfect there in that you had quite a few decisions that were really impactful and that made the experience feel different when you played it with different backstories. Inquisition is probably one of my least favorite of the games to play. Like, I don't go back to it very often, but I would argue that story-wise, it delivered the most. It was the most diverse, and it had the most like moments of, oh my god, that was amazing, or oh my god, that was horrifying, which I know we have a section later to kind of talk about some of those moments. But I feel like Inquisition really kind of nailed that, like coalescence of all of that.
Yeah, Inquisition's one of those. I mean, it is next to Mass Effect 2, probably my favorite BioWare game. I would say, no, it's probably third favorite behind Mass Effect 2 and KOTOR. But yeah, I like that. It is fantastic, and they do some really awesome stuff with the story. And like you said, Jess, I did go back. I know we mentioned this on a podcast a few weeks ago, but you had talked about, you know, some of the things that Solus does in the course of that game. I was like, yeah, no, that I went back and fired up my save. It didn't happen on mine. Like, I was pretty surprised.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's back to me now. I kind of went back and forth if I was going to talk about this game yet again. But ultimately, being that is my favorite game story, it's actually my probably my favorite narrative of any kind of all time. So I figured I better at least mention it and maybe try to hopefully mention something that's a little bit different than what we've talked about before. But we'll see. But Final Fantasy VII, again, talking about it for the 1,000th time. This is the 30th episode, by the way. So probably talked about it 30
hey.
times.
Say, have we talked about it at least 30 times?
At least 30 times, probably, yeah. There's one holdover from the previous iteration of the show. But no, I have to, I think the game, but also the set and setting in which I played it, played a key role in that. I got it really at a perfect time that I could sink a ton of hours into it consecutively. And it was a time where a lot of my friends were gone on like vacation, and so I was kind of alone. And it really, so sitting there without much else to do, and that kind of being the new game, as well as, you know, reading all the hype kind of leading up to it, and all the commercials were so fantastic. So there's a lot around the game that I think benefited. But I was into that from the beginning. I mean, the music is that opening scene, which I think they did a great job in the remake, capturing. That opening scene really grabbed me. I love the style of it. Oddly enough, I wasn't a huge fan of Cloud when I played it. I just wasn't super into him, but I liked just about everything else.
He
that
kind of sucks as a character.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was never that into. I think they made him a little bit better in the remake, but Cloud, which is kind of weird that the main character is my least favorite part of my favorite game, but he is. But no, when his town burns down, I mean that I guess kind of centers on him. But the whole 5 years ago thing with Calm and everything. That really hit me pretty hard, and that whole section there. Midgar is definitely my least favorite part of the game, but a lot of the stuff after that, story, I've talked about it so much that. But and then even on the third disc, once you get to the end and he kind of loses his mind, that whole thing was kind of interesting. I hadn't really seen that in a game before. But yeah, I taped the ending. I still have a VHS tape of beating that game. So, yeah.
I mean,
Again-
that was probably what, like that. It's like an hour 15 after you finish off that last fight. So like you probably wanted to record it so you didn't have to go through all that again, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. You have to go down all those steps and you fight stuff. And then I didn't know it the first time you played it, but if you use Knights of the Round, it extends. It gives additional HP to all the bosses and everything. So it makes it even longer and more difficult. And so the second time I beat it, I didn't use that, and it's substantially easier and quicker. But yeah, the ending's like 20 minutes too.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty much its own disc. So, but yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's, I loved all the Final Fantasies I'd played up until that point. But that was just the perfect time, place, and game. I don't know. And like I've mentioned before, it grabbed me so much that when I did my senior thesis at KU in religious studies, I did it on Final Fantasy VII. And it made me like it even more because I didn't, obviously, when I played it in middle school, I didn't know much about, all the various world religions and things. So finding out all the different story links that went back into mysticism and things like that actually made me reinvigorated my interest and love of the game. So,
Pretty awesome.
yeah, it's a nice game. You should check it out. Might talk about it sometime. But this next one, Jack, that you're gonna pick, I actually agree with this one, even though I wouldn't have agreed with it back then.
Yeah, so I for my next one I picked Halo. Big surprise again. 30 podcasts, probably 30 mentions of Halo, if not more. But Halo is one of those games where I kind of picked it up for the multiplayer and ended up really digging the single player. Like finding out it was one of those games where there wasn't really a whole bunch of story really up front. It was just like, hey, you're fighting this race of aliens and they don't like you, and you're on this ring world. And it's like, okay, sure, let's roll with it. Let's go see how this ends. It turns out there's a weird like zombie infection race of genetically engineered monsters that reanimates dead tissue and wants to consume everything in the galaxy. Okay, cool. Let's figure out how we blow this whole thing up. Whatever. What I really dug was, honestly, after I finished the game, I just kept thinking about it. And I found out there was, a novel called The Fall of Reach that was kind of written alongside the game. And I read that thing cover to cover in probably not even 3 days. And I was hooked on the story. So I know it's not directly impactful to the game, but it gave a lot of context to what was going on. And I thought that was really interesting. Like I've read some other video game novels, like did kind of companion pieces for like some of the Dragon Age stuff, some of the Mass Effect stuff. And it's kind of fine, but the Halo one was really the first one that really grabbed me and actually had a decent story to tell. And it was really interesting just to understand more about, hey, here's why, the Hammer of Dawn was, or not Hammer of Dawn. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, a Halo brain fart from Jack.
Yeah. The ship was running from the Covenant. They basically left Reach and were trying to get away from Reach.
You're not talking about the Pillar of Autumn, are you?
Yes, the Pillar of Autumn. Okay. Thank you. Oh my God.
That is, we're in danger. That's like a topsy-turvy world.
But like, it's just one of those things where it added so much context to what was going on in the game, gave you some motivations for characters that just kind of have like 2 minutes of screen time in the game itself, and just gives a little more humanization to Master Chief as well. And so, like I said, this is not really so much talking about the story of Halo, but the expanded universe around Halo, at least up through probably Halo 3. Like, they've done some really good world building around it, and the storyline in general is just pretty. It's worthwhile to go dig into it because it does give you some fleshed out universe stuff.
One thing I could say about Halo, even even before the book, is it does feel like a real world. Like it feels like a living, breathing place. And the more you play it, the more you feel like you're a part of that universe and that world. And unfortunately, I felt like that dropped off with each release.
I don't know about that, but it definitely after 3, well, I should say after Halo Reach, it definitely started dropping because 3, 4, 3 didn't have the same kind of, I don't know if it's reverence or actual skill in storytelling, that they just couldn't quite keep it going.
For me, that original Halo is still the one that feels the most Halo-y to me.
Yeah.
Not that 2 and 3 are bad, because they're great, but the first one is the special one for me.
Yep. For sure.
All right, Logan.
Yes. So my next one is the Portal franchise. I mentioned it before. And it's an interesting one for story, but I also really enjoy it. It uses environmental storytelling very well as well. Like as you dive into the facilities in both games, you can see evidence of like the history of the facility, because spoilers, but it is that very far in the future, and it does show the age in some respects, which I find really cool. And then even the surface level story, I don't know, I just like the style of it, the comedy, like the dark comedy going on through the whole thing. I think the characters are very well written, namely GLaDOS, but I also really enjoy like Wheatley in the second game. And even like in the second game they have, I'm forgetting the name, but like there's old like owner of Aperture, and kind of get a sense of his character a little bit from
why can't I think of
recordings. Yeah. And yeah, I just love a lot of what they did with that world. I haven't played Half-Life, but I enjoy the connections between the two that I've seen, and I need to go and play Half-Life at some point.
Cave Johnson, that's who you're thinking of.
Yes, I really enjoyed Cave Johnson.
Yes. You could put J.K. Simmons in just about anything, and I'll be like, yep, that's entertaining. Except for Oz. Oz was no.
But yeah. No, I basically love everything about the storytelling in Portal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean,
it's so
you're
funny
right.
too.
The writing is extremely clever. They do some good twists in both games. It's a very, very great example of video game storytelling. Sure.
Yes.
I think that game has a really nice blend for me of like storytelling, and then also the gameplay is really good. So you just got, it's like a nicely balanced plate there.
Yeah. If it wasn't on your list, it'd be on mine. Because Portal is fantastic, and it's just so funny too.
Yeah.
Like legitimately funny, like not trying too hard, not anything, just like actually funny.
Yeah.
Very witty. And the song, I mean, adds to the whole
Both
thing.
songs. I have I'm Still Alive on my playlist.
Nice.
Such a great game. I played that for people that have never played Portal. And a lot of times like, what is that? Like, they kind of end up liking it, even though they didn't play the game. But I love that final fight in the first one. The second one's great, too.
Yeah.
But the final fight in that first one is something special.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I was very surprised by the ending of the second one, though. I was like, this is a thing you can do?
Such a great thought to have in a game. This is a thing that you can do. Yep. Cool. All right. Jess, your turn.
So my next one is one that's been out for a while now, but I only very recently played it. It's What Remains of Edith Finch. And it was so good. I picked it up like literally this last week because it was on sale for like $5, and it had been on the list forever. And I was like, I'm just going to grab it and play it. And It's definitely closer to like a visual novel that you can explore than like a heavy gameplay type of game, which I have no problems with. I really enjoy that. And I was really impressed how much emotion they were able to get into a relatively quickly to play game. Like, it only took me a couple hours to get through it. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's a really amazing kind of dive into like generational trauma and grief through this character who's returning to her old family home after her mother has passed away, and kind of exploring the different ways that other family members have passed away for this family that they claim has a curse on it. And it was just so much more emotional than I was expecting it to be. Like, I'd heard it was good, but like I got to the end of it and I was like, actually, like a little like taken aback, and like there were like kind of like the knot in my throat of like, oh wow, this really actually kind of hit harder than I was anticipating it. So I would highly suggest, if you haven't played it, to pick it up, because it was really, really impactful.
Awesome.
I'll second that recommendation. What Remains of Edith Finch is one of my favorite like narrative. Like, I think some people will give it the derogatory term like walking simulator games, but like it's the story is phenomenal. I gotta ask Jess, which one of your little like family member vignettes was your favorite? Because I know which mine is.
Ooh, that's really hard. In a lot of ways, it was, and forgive me, I'm horrible with the names, but it was the brother that like got lost in his own like mind. Like
the cannery one?
Yes, the cannery one.
Yeah, that was mine too. That one
was so intense. And I think it did the best of combining you having to like physically do things while also following the story in a way that I thought was really effective. And it is kind of like a walking simulator type thing, but it's also, in my opinion, I think it did such a good job of guiding you through it in a way that felt really natural. Like, I loved how like it kind of turned you in the directions you needed to go with like the story and like the words popping up. I just thought it was like really well done in that respect as well.
Yeah, they do a great job of really presenting it in a fashion that kind of makes you understand how he kind of lost himself in that situation.
Yep.
Well, it's on my list. I definitely need to pick it up sooner than later. I've heard really good things. I like when games are short too. Like, I don't mind. I don't need a game to be 80,000 hours. And in fact, I wish there were more games that were a little bit more movie length, that you can get through them in a satisfying. You know, they don't necessarily need to cost $70. But a game that you can get through in a couple hours is very appealing to me.
One of my favorite ones recently, I think I mentioned it a few episodes ago, but it was Choo Choo Charles. It's like an indie game made by one guy. But that one has a really fun little story, not terribly complicated, and it does. It only takes like about 5 hours to beat the game, and I had a great time with it. One of the most memorable games I've played in a while. And just more of those types of games you could play. Like, it was still $20, and it was a great $20. And I could fit a whole ton of other like $20 like 5 hour games or whatever in the span like it would take to grind like a really massive one.
Yeah, I've always been very much on the side of quality over quantity with games, and I totally get they're expensive. You want to get your money's worth out of it. I understand that perspective on it, definitely, but I am 100% on the I want to play a great thing. I don't care how long it is, if it's satisfying. Max, I remember when Max Payne came out, Jack, I don't know if you remember, people were really complaining about the length of that game because it was like 10 hours, I think.
I didn't care. It was just
I didn't care at all.
It's like, hey, 3D Realms is putting out a new shooter. Okay, yeah, let's do this.
I was so sick with mono when that game came out. Like, so sick. I had like no energy, and I was playing Final Fantasy 9 at the time, and it just was like, I was just like, And then I got Max Payne and I started playing it and I was like, oh man, and I was like so sick. I was like, could barely sit at the computer, but I got, and there's like the whole drug thing in it and you can get drug, and that kind of enhanced like the mono thing going on. But no, that game was great. That's actually one of my favorite single player. It's one of my favorite single player PC experiences ever. That was just a sit down and play within a day or two. Was so cool. So
Yep.
I'll always have the fond memories of the Max Payne. So again, I've talked about this game a couple times, not as many times as 7. But I love the story of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's so much so, and it's being remade, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's going to be playing that remaster that's coming out in the next year or so. But a fantastic story about class, about monarchy, about war, about exploitation. When I first played it, I did not. I mean, God, what was I? 7th grade, something like that. When I played it, I was not anticipating like as deep of a story as I got. I thought it would be kind of a cool story. I had beaten Final Fantasy VII recently, and I went into the store, and there was this girl that worked there that had really good taste in games. And I was like, so I beat Final Fantasy VII. What do I play next? And she was like, well, Tactics just came in. You should try that. And I looked at it, I was like, Tactics? And at the time, I really didn't like strategy games. I've since rectified that sin. But at the time, I just was not into strategy. So I looked at it and was very skeptical of it. And I did end up picking it up, and I ended up, it was kind of the week or two I was going to be spending at Shadow, so I took it there, and we marathoned that beginning of it. And from the very beginning, I was super into it. I also have never really liked medieval stories, so the fact that it was set in that time, or liked them less than others. But I love the corruption. I'll talk a little bit about kind of a big moment later. But the whole class thing was so much more interesting than I anticipated. And the Lita, and I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it is such a fabulous story. And hopefully they make it so you don't have to grind like crazy in the remaster, because I think that's going to lose a lot of people. Back in the day, like you had to grind like crazy to get through that game, which I didn't mind at the time. But I think in the modern era, it's not going to go over so well. So hopefully you have some quality of life stuff so you can get through that story. But that story is great. The whole it's later. I'll talk about it later. So good. If you like stories about politics and corruption and how religion can bleed into that, and family lineage, and just there's so much cool stuff there. Great story.
Yep.
Even if it wasn't like a part of a game, I would love that story.
It's definitely one of the better Final Fantasy stories they've told, and the method in which they portray it as within the gameplay and then outside of it as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I replayed it maybe 4 years ago now, maybe 3. I replayed it, and there's a patch that you can get for the PS1 version that adds the PSP translation with a few corrections, and it also tweaks the gameplay to make it a little bit fairer, because there's some really, if you look into how Final Fantasy Tactics works in terms of the balancing and the difficulty, there's some weird stuff there that I didn't really notice the first time I played it, and they do a really good job of rectifying kind of the insane difficulty. There's some battles in there that are so frustrating, it makes you want to just like, and you want to know what happens next in the story, so it's so frustrating. And there's just some things there, but then like the whole thing of trying to get your classes up, you want your geomancer and getting your ninja on, all that adds to the intrigue and the mystery. And then the summoner, who always felt underpowered to me but looked really cool, so you wanted that. But yeah, if you haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics, you should try out the remaster when it comes out, because it's looking like it's going to be pretty awesome and potentially relevant for events.
Yeah, looks great.
All right, Jack, you're next.
Yeah, so my next one I want to talk about is Half-Life 2. Again, another heavy hitter, just in the pantheon of games.
So good.
Half-Life 2, so Half-Life's story was kind of there. Again, it was one of those games where environmental storytelling was a lot of what that game had.
The beginning was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of from there, it was just kind of like, you just had things kind of happen and you reacted to it all. Half-Life 2 kind of starts out kind of the same way almost. Like there's a lot of world building right up front where you kind of see what the world of City 17 is, what's going on with the world. Hey, guess what? The aliens that invaded originally are now, they've taken over the world, and they took it over in like 3 hours because we couldn't stop them. And so you just pick up little bits and pieces here and there as you go through the world. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, hey, you're Gordon Freeman, and it's your turn to try to just like A, escape from this city, but also B, we need to at least try to save the city because it's maybe one of the only cities left in the world. And it just kind of goes from there. They do some incredible stuff just with character work. They do some really cool things with just narrative design. It's pretty much, hey, we need to get you from A to B to C. And then some of the extra episodes after that kind of add on to it. But from a world building storyline standpoint, I think it's still one of the games that is unmatched in that. Like, there are so many unanswered questions that come up as part of the world design, and like, how like the rivers all look like they've been drained. So like, has the Combine been like terraforming? Like, there's just like you can go down the YouTube rabbit hole and try to find all these unanswered questions. Valve will talk about some of them. Valve will not talk about others. And so it is one of those games where there's just a mystique around it. Half-Life Alyx kind of filled in some of the gaps and added more questions too. I don't think we're ever going to find out like 100% exactly what the heck is going on in the Half-Life universe, but it's really cool. It's really nice to see, and the little hints here and there about them tying things into Portal is interesting, and vice versa. Like, it is from a world building standpoint, from a storyline standpoint, I think it's probably one of the most intriguing franchises right now, in that it could kind of go any direction. Like Half-Life 3, if they ever decide to make it, could be another VR game. It could be, something completely different that is like the new wave in gaming. I don't know. But
Neuralink.
I do know that whenever it releases, I'll be there right dead center to find out what is going to go on. What is the G-Man going to have us do next? And like, are we just taking down the entire Combine?
I don't know what was wrong with me back then when Half-Life 2, like, I liked Half-Life 1. I played it when it came out. I loved the beginning especially. For some reason, when Half-Life 2 came out, even though I liked the E3 stuff, I just wasn't super stoked on it. Maybe because my PC wasn't very powerful at the time. Like, I think I needed to upgrade my graphics card, and I was irritated about that. But I remember Jack upgraded his graphics card to a delicious level, should we say. And it was inspiring. I think I went like right out and bought a new graphics card at Best Buy because you needed one to play that game, a new one, or to play it kind of how it was intended.
Well.
And yeah, play it well. And that, I loved it. I mean, I loved it more than I thought I would. And it's one of those games where when you start playing it, just so many hours can go by where you're just lost in it. You don't even realize how many hours you put into it. And then you just start playing with the gravity gun, like in addition to everything else. And that is so much fun. Just the physics in that were almost part of the storytelling because it was so fascinating just to mess with the world and how things would interact. So again, I don't know what my problem was. I think I was just irritated. I had to buy a new graphics card. I think that had to have been it because I can't think of any other reason for it. But it was you mainly, and then Beaks was the other one. I don't know if you remember Beaks from the forums, but
I remember, yeah.
He also was really talking to me about that game. So seeing your graphics card and then seeing Beaks, I can't remember, showed me something. He sent it to me on Facebook. It was one of the first Facebook messages I ever got back in 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, when Facebook first launched, that was a thing. Whoa. Okay, lots of dating going on. Let's move on before it gets too old here. Logan, did you have another one, or should we go on to Jess?
I can So this is a franchise I have not gotten very deep into yet. I've only played a little bit of 3, but I've really been enjoying Fallout.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Storytelling in there. Like I've seen the first season of the show, which was incredible. I'm very excited for the second season. But in terms of 3, really enjoyed, kind of similar to Portal, the comedic edge that world has. And I really love the design of everything. And I guess I'm really just big on environmental storytelling, but everything in that world has age, and you can just really tell, like, the shtick of the world. It's very well defined. And I really appreciate it for that. Like, it's kind of a shortcut to, like, immersion in that way.
Definitely.
I feel like I'm in a completely different place, and I can really embody the character and immediately understand what the world is going for, which is impressive for being open like that.
It's one thing that video games can do really well. I mean, not that you can't do that kind of thing in other mediums, and you can do it well, but video games are so cool because you can really involve the player in their exploration of the world, how much they're willing to get into it, and you're super rewarded if you're into story. Some people are not into story, but if you're into story, exploring all that stuff and kind of naturally expanding without a lot of exposition and all that. So I get it. It's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jess.
Yeah, so my next one is going to be Undertale.
So good.
It's so good. I don't think that there's been another game that I have played that has elicited so much, like, love for each and every single character that you interact with as quickly as Undertale does. Which just lends itself to, the different endings that you can get depending on how heartless of a monster you can bring yourself to be.
Is it bad that even 4 episodes into Deltarune, I'm still waiting for Papyrus to show up? Like, because I just want to have another interaction with him.
He's so great. I feel the exact same way. So if it's bad, then at least we're both on the same page there. But yeah, I think it's just so well done, and the story is so compelling without being, like, I think overly cumbersome, because when you're creating an entire new world and this entirely different, concept, it can be really easy to, like, hit people over the head with too much information. And I feel like Undertale does a really good job of, like, easing you into it. And because the characters are so interesting and so engaging, it makes, like, absorbing all of that information easy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So it's one of my favorite video games of, the last couple decades.
It's so stylistically cohesive too, across story, across sound, across music, across graphics. Like, it's such a cohesive experience throughout.
Yeah, it's one of those games where, like, the characters are all compelling, the story is intriguing, you kind of want to know what's going on with the world, what the state of the world is, and, like, how you get to where you are, and then you have real agency in how that world ends up, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, so my next one here is not a game I've talked about a whole lot. I think I've only talked about it once on the rebooted show here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But this was probably the situation I was most excited about in the Xbox 360 era. And in fact, we parodied it in the gamer show that we did on BreakmanX.com back in the day, or parodied Weezer's interest in it anyway. But Lost Odyssey was really phenomenal. And the main story, of course, but those kind of vignettes, like, he's immortal, and you have all these vignettes of all the, lives he's basically lived and the people he's lost. And the way it's told is so effective. I mean, a lot of it's almost novel style, right?
Yeah.
But the way that the music hits and the way that you progress through it, it really is one of the better stories that makes you feel the pain of an immortal person. I mean, you see it in movies and books and things all the time where you have an immortal person and oh no, they've lost people in their lives and blah 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 blah. And it's something that's used a lot. But I really felt like Lost Odyssey nailed it. They really, to me, nailed that situation, and you really felt it. I mean, there were some of those vignettes that made me teary-eyed. I mean, those were intense and really effectively told. So if you haven't played Lost Odyssey and you have the means, that is a game that I don't think gets quite the praise that it deserves. It's basically, a Final Fantasy game.
It's the real Final Fantasy 13.
So much better than 13. I like 13 visually in places, but besides that, not so much.
Yeah.
But Lost Odyssey, I like everything about it. I mean, I got the strategy guide for it, not because I needed it, just because I wanted to know more. Like, I just wanted to see everything I could possibly see.
Yeah, I was really, when I started playing, like, it opens with a really intriguing premise. Like, you have that gigantic battlefield kind of going on, and then...
And looks great, too.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And then it kind of slows down a little bit. But, I mean, really, you get through that opening, I don't know, 2-3 hours, and then it's just nonstop. Like, oh, here's this person. Oh, hey, guess what? This is another immortal, and they've also lost their memory. And you just keep going and going, and it's interesting to see, like you mentioned, all the people they've lost, all the people that they've made friendships with throughout the years, whether it's through those little novelizations that they pop up within your I can't remember how you find those. Are they just scattered throughout the world?
They're kind of scattered throughout the world.
Things that you find and it like jogs his memory.
Kind of both. I mean, like it's just they're scattered throughout the world, and they're shiny, if I remember right. I haven't played it since the first time I played it. I want to replay it because I feel like I would enjoy it even more now than I did then. Yeah,
but it's really incredible just to see how much forethought. Like, obviously, the team had a long time to think about that one between Final Fantasy X and that. So, like, there was a lot of
so different too from Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, but it's an incredible story that, you're right, just doesn't get its due.
No, it doesn't. It's very story driven too. Mm-hmm. It's very story focused. But yeah, if you haven't played that one, it's very cheap. Or at least last time I looked, it was on sale for any of the Xbox consoles. Is it on PC? Can you play it on PC?
It is still not on PC. It's still just Xbox 360 and Series and Xbox One. So backwards compatible on Xbox, but nowhere else.
It looks. I did boot it up on Series X, just because I wanted to see what it looked like. And it looks great because I still have my discs. But one thing I will say about it, I hate how they package the discs. It's one of those, like, they're all like
they stacked it on top
crapped
of each other.
On top of each other, so it's like maximum scratchage.
Yep.
That's my only complaint with the game, though.
Yep.
Everything else, love.
Yeah, it's one of those that I wish, kind of like Blue Dragon, they just find some other way to release it.
Yeah.
Not that Blue Dragon is as great as Lost Odyssey, but it's still an interesting
worth playing
point in time thing to say, hey, it's Akira Toriyama and it's Sakaguchi, and they made a game together.
That game fried my 360. It was the first time that I had to say, of the 3 to 5 times, I think 5 times that I had to send my 360 in. The first time was during Lost Odyssey, and I was like, it was right when I was like super into it, and it was like I was like so into it, like I couldn't go to bed, and I was playing it late, and then I got to this thing, and like it shut off, and I was like, is there a power outage? What happened? And then I turned it on, and it came on for a brief instant, and then it shut off again, and then the next time it was the red ring of death. And then I talked to Xbox, and they were like, "Did you put it underwater?" No. But they did get me one. They did fix it pretty quickly. I think it took 2 weeks, so not too bad.
Of how playing Lost Odyssey translates to putting it underwater.
Well, they ask you like, does it have water damage? Did you do this? Did you? And each time I did it, they progressively were more difficult getting it fixed. The first time was pretty straightforward. The second time was a little worse, and then the last time they literally accused me of like putting water on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it hasn't been anywhere close to water. I don't like, it's like, and it was the way it was positioned in my room. It like, I would have had to like literally take in a hose, like no water could fall on it. So, but they did eventually rectify the situation. It was just difficult. So
That's good.
and then I eventually got one of those whatever the last iteration was with the HDMI cable that's much quieter.
Oh.
Those are really nice. If you get a 360, that's the one to get. The one with the HDMI.
The E, Xbox. Yeah,
Was
the
that
Xbox
the one?
360 E? I think it was.
It just looks.
It's not the angled in and out. It's just straight.
Yeah, and it.
Yep, that's the E. Yeah.
And it's much quieter because that 360 was like a hurricane in action. But that one was much quieter, and it had the HDMI port. It didn't kill itself when you played games, so it was kind of the best of all the worlds. But all right, Jack.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to favorite story moments? Because I know we're getting close.
Yes, we do, because we do have a hard out this evening. Again, let's go with you since I just talked. Well, let's go with you.
Okay. So I've got a few on here, but I think the one I want to talk about the most from a narrative perspective, this is what we wanted to kind of talk about were our favorite game story moments. So like whether it's a twist, a turn, or just some incredible gameplay narrative moment that really kind of blew us away. And the one I wanted to really talk about was, I got like 4 on this list, but the number one thing I think is from a narrative perspective, really intriguing was BioShock. And the moment where you figure out, would you kindly, like there was something that, you've been going on the route the entire game, trying to get to Andrew Ryan, trying to figure out what happened to this underwater city. And then you find out that phrase, which you've been seeing and hearing the entire game, has a completely different connotation. After I finished the game, I literally went back and just fired it up again from scratch just to play through it again. I was like, oh my God, like everything that happens in the game is essentially you are being told, you've been programmed to, would you kindly go do X? And like you have no way to get out of it. And it is, from a narrative perspective and a gameplay perspective, I thought it was very clever. And I'm somebody that I really liked System Shock and System Shock 2. And System Shock 2 has another great twist in that game that I did not, that one I kind of saw coming a mile away, just because I had played the first System Shock. But BioShock completely, like it hit me like over the head with a frying pan, and it completely changed the way I looked at that game after that event. And if you haven't played BioShock, it's on just about everything. I highly recommend you go play it and play through all the way. Too. Yeah, the remaster. I think is the remastered version out, or is it coming out?
Well, there's an older remaster is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
On Steam. I think there's a newer one that's coming out. It'll be remastered again.
Yeah. And I know they're working on BioShock 4 too, whatever that means.
I gotta ask you a question before I forget. Have you played the System Shock remake?
Yes, I have.
Did you like it?
It is good. It is
not great.
It's not great. It's weird because they're trying to be very faithful to the original. But that means making some gameplay sacrifices. So like modern things like quality of life stuff that you think should be there, like inventory management stuff, just isn't quite there. And so it's good. It's not exactly what you want. I would say if you really want to play System Shock again, the new System Shock 2 remastered that's out, you should go play that one.
Oh, how recent is that one?
Like literally this week. I think it's like $29.99 on Steam, and Night Dive Studios did it. So it's
Oh
like
my god!
very good
Oh,
quality.
I forgot that was. Oh yeah, System Shock 2 is probably my favorite. Any of the two. That was a fond PC memory.
Yeah, and that one has one of the all-timer. Like I said, I saw it coming a mile away, but if you are unfamiliar with System Shock, go play it and be prepared for some very fun storytelling.
Be prepared. Sorry. System Shock 2 is going on my list. The remake, because I forgot about that. Wow, 25th anniversary? That can't be right.
Yeah.
Gross.
I played it in college.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Let's move on before we die. Logan. Logan.
Yes.
Did you have another one? Or wait, no, this is a different category. I'm sorry.
Which one to pick? Okay, I'm gonna go the second one because I haven't talked about it yet today. I'm gonna go Subnautica, which is an interesting choice because the story is very thin. It's mostly about the survival elements, but when the story picks up, it really picks up, and I love the interaction with the Emperor Leviathan at the end of the story. Like, really contextualizes the whole world and like why it is the way it is, and just the whole like kind of disease plot you've been dealing with, and adds some interesting lore to the world that I really appreciate, and just kind of a level of mysticism that wasn't like that. All the rest of the creatures in the game are just more animalistic, and this is like the first one that you were able to like communicate with. It's just like a really like, it just really stuck with me after that moment of the game. Yeah, it was a welcome treat after dealing with like Reaper Leviathans.
Cool. Your other
That's
one is
awesome.
one of my all-time favorites. So
That was really good too. I mean,
we might have to do this specific part again because there's so many good ones that we could go through. Like, I had a hard time. I have 8 of them. It was really hard for me to narrow down to a couple, and there's so many more.
Making a list of just 4 was very, very troubling.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of these. I'm gonna say one before we head off into the sunset. I gotta pick which one though. There's so many. And the ones I picked aren't even maybe the best ones. They're just kind of the ones that came to me. I'm gonna do one because I haven't really talked about this game, and it's a game that I like quite a bit. It's kind of divisive, but Chrono Cross. I really like Chrono Cross. Game that got like great reviews, but fans tend to be pretty divided on it. I am in the I like it a lot camp. And that first split, when you go into the kind of alternate dimension and you go back through and like no one knows who you are, even like your mom doesn't know who you are. I don't know if when I played it again, I was just in the right set and setting for it. It's also the first game that BreakmanX gave me, so that might have something to do with it because I thought it was pretty cool to get a game from her. But going through that and like, it was just really profound and creepy for me. The world switching thing there, and then there's other stuff too that is maybe not as interesting, but that beginning part of it especially really grabbed me and drew me in, and made me want to play it. And I still haven't beaten the game because when I was really close to the end, like within an hour, someone decided to play it, and they saved over my save file, and it made me so upset that I never played. And then I was playing it again a few years ago, and I'm pretty close. I am gonna finally beat it. The remaster on that one isn't so great, by the way. It is remastered. It's better to play it that way than not play it at all. But if you can play it on original hardware, you're gonna have a better time.
That's disappointing. I mean, Square just farting that one out, or
there's just some weird stuff about it, and they did release a patch that improved it, but like the performance isn't great. It performs better on the PS1. Like,
wow,
that shouldn't be right.
No.
There is some cool remastering of the music, like Mitsuda-san actually, I think, re-recorded some of it and made it sound even better. And it's even if you don't like the game, listen to the soundtrack. It's on all the streaming services. So it's super easy to access. But that soundtrack is just amazing. Like, it's one of my favorite games, and that opening track that is so energetic. I play that for my video game class because most of them haven't heard it, and it's so grabbing. The CG that goes along with it isn't as grabbing, but the music's really good. All right. Well, there's a lot more to talk about. We'll have to do another time.
Wait. Did we give Jess? Did Jess get to do hers?
Did I skip Jess?
Did not. You did skip Jess. I will be very quick. I'm going to go back to Dragon Age since it's the one I talked about earlier. And there's a million that I could call on in Inquisition especially. But I think the most difficult decision that I've ever had to make in a game narratively is if you end up with the very specific choice between having to either leave Alistair or Hawk in the Fade. And I have never been so upset in my life. And like, I actually, the first time I played with like that specific choice, I had to like turn it off for a second and come back to it later because I was so upset. And just the absolute gall of making you choose between one of your companions and potential, romantic interest in the first game and your player character of the second game is utterly diabolical, and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wanted to just mention the chat really quick before we head off to the end. We've got Castlevania Games Ryan. CM got Ryan. Hello, how's it going? His is Final Fantasy IV. And not trying to take this away from you, Logan, but I know we have our heart out, so I'm trying to just go through it quickly. J-Rod was hoping someone would say Bioshock. I said the crazy addictive one, so was the original Dead Space. And then he said go over a save, ouch, yes. And then Sketchy Ceviche sad, Jess, you have to rub it in. No, I'm sorry, Jess. I think it might be the order of the windows, or that might just be an excuse. I don't know. But in either case, I'm glad that we got to you. All right, Jack, what would you like to say before we head off into the sunset?
Oh, man. This week, just looking forward to a fun weekend, putting some more time into both Gradius Origins. I really want to get back and finish Salamander 2 because I didn't get a chance to finish it last week.
Did you finish 3?
I finished 3, yeah.
Okay.
But I did 2 just for whatever reason. The time I blocked off to play through it, I got distracted with something else, so I got to come back to it. And then also playing out that Heretic and Hexen remake, or not remake, but re-release. I played a few minutes of Heretic, and it's really good. I really like Heretic still, probably more so than Hexen, but yeah, they did a really good job. Looks like with that little port. So I'm gonna put some time into it this weekend.
I love all the remasters. I mean, I know that some people would rather have new games, and I get that, but there's some really great remasters. I was just looking at the Night Dive Studios ones. I'd kind of forgotten about like a couple of those, like Power Slave. I need to play through that still. Yeah, and Turok I think has less fog. So
Yes, it does.
all right, Logan, what would you like to say before we head off into the sunset?
Yeah, I've got a good weekend coming up. I'm planning on doing some VFX projects coming up here. I've been working on optimizing optimizing and improving my workflow. I've been doing some like lens compositing type stuff to try and imitate optics more accurately, which has been fun. And then Aiden and I believe I mentioned last week, Edge of Oblivion will be at the Salt City Film Festival, but also an older film, Daydream, is going to be at that festival as well that Aiden and I worked on. And we've been putting together a remastered copy for that festival because there was like issues with like the visuals because we only had like this compressed copy, and then the sound like peaked everywhere. So we're fixing all that.
Oops.
And that's going to be fun.
Ooh, peeking. Gross. And Jess, not skipping you this time.
Yeah. The hope is, I'm hoping this weekend to actually get through and finish Expedition 33, especially since classes start back up next week, and my free time is going to go from
Good luck.
barely there to entirely non-existent. So yeah, just trying to get through as much as I can before life gets crazy.
I gotcha.
Good luck.
Well, yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
You have to say it in the Star Fox voice. Thank you all for listening to the game show, and we will see you same time next week.